What was the life like for the family in your homeland?
I think it was fun because I was born in the 70s, early 70s. So I came from China. And then at that time, China is not yet open for development. So everything it was in same as like 20 years. No, you should say. I was born in the 70s. So I came to the US in the early 90s. So at that time, China does not have the so-called the high tech, no internet, no, cell phones. It's not common, and then most people do not have a car, and so you live your life in a very local city. Because I came from a big city actually. The city is called Guangzhou. It's the southern tip of China. So Guangzhou is a very, very old city. So it has a lot of traditions. And then it's, how to say, back then, should I continue? Back then, before I came, the people, when the monthly wages, it's about $800, like before $1,000 your Chinese yuan, and it's considered rich because most of the people in the rest of China is like less than 100 per month they have for
big well-known cities.
Because Guangzhou is the border of the southern part of China, and then it has more of like just like the US border city from the East Coast, West Coast. You have more other people that coming from other places to that place, to the city, so there's more commercial activity. So that's why relatively more opportunity for jobs, and then more opportunity, good factories. At that time it's manufacturing. Actually, the young people go to manufacturers to earn money, to earn wages. So sorry, what was your question?
What was life like in the family, or for the family?
So I would consider myself is actually middle class in China. They call it 小康, means like you're not wealthy, but you're not poor. So everybody was about the same. We were about the same. You don't feel the classes difference. There's nobody super rich. And there were people poor because if they're coming from the village or they live like the nearby village, they were still very traditional village life. If you're a farmer, you farm. If you're a fisherman, you fish. And then so in that perspective, because both my parents are workers. My mother was a teacher, and my father was in a oil company, but he was doing the supporting staff, so it considered like a middle class. Yeah.
Okay. Well, was it a comfortable life, or was it more of a struggle? I think it's more comfortable, right?
Yeah, it's more not that right.
Okay. What was one of your most memorable moments back in the homeland, back in Guangzhou?
Memorable moments. I think the fun moments for me is having the weekend, together to make dumplings. Because the dumpling making weekend at a time, even I was back then was a teenager, so I don't like it. But my father imposed that upon all the family members.
Yeah.
And then as a family activity, so everyone have to do their part. So my father will be the one that makes the skin, and then chop the veggie, make the what do you call that? This thing in the middle. No, the inside meat. The meat part of it. And then all the family members have to know how to make the dumpling, like basically put them together, make them. So at that moment was not that fun because it was not a willing, you're being forced into it. But looking back, there were those family moments that you get to talk to each other, have fun, and then have some like doing things together. And that's even after I have my own family, I still remember those moments back in when my mother's family, when I was little. So that's something that pops up when this kind of question asked. There are many fun moments, but this is one that came up.
What were the hopes and dreams of the family for the ones who migrated away from the homeland?
My parents actually did not expect too much out of me because I wasn't a very studious, study well student, but it's just giving that opportunity that I was the one can come to study instead of my older brother. So they just wanted me to be happy and then be myself, I guess, find my own path, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the social and political situation of Guangzhou during the few years before you left? If you can remember.
I think, because before I came to the US in the 93, and then few years before that, 89, there was a event called Tiananmen event. It basically is a bunch of college students protesting in the Tiananmen Square, and then for a period of time, I don't remember how many days, and then at the end, the government actually sent in the tank to push them out. Yeah, and then there was a very famous photograph. Now a young man stand in front of the tank and then to block the tank keep moving forward. So, but then at that time I was in high school, and then I'm actually far away from Tiananmen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't recall now like what they were asking at that moment, but that was the beginning, or that is the period of time that China was actually changing the political, should I say?
Like political parties.
They're not changing parties. They were changing the policy, you may well, of how the country should be managed, I guess. So that was actually the time that about that period, the time that China decided they're gonna open up the market, and then they're gonna focusing on economy rather than political ideologies. So I think that was the beginning of the period. And then for that event was a very, actually was if you look up the history part, the Tiananmen Square event in 1989, actually in June, that event was happened in June. I remember afterwards, we actually protested in the school as a middle schooler, and then some of my teachers actually got into trouble because of that, because we were,
they let you guys participate?
Like they would be, those teachers was questioned later on afterwards. So that's what I remember about it, and that was the situation in China politically. And okay,
nothing else.
Question again.
Okay. What factors went into the decision for you to leave?
So like I said earlier, it was just an opportunity for me to come study. Because when I was back in China, at that time, I already knew that I will be not the pressure on high school kids to pass that exam was not as crazy as now. Mm-hmm. I forgot what they call that, the centralized exam that all high school kids to take to go to college. Yeah, Gaokao. And then at that time there was one, but not as crazy as now. Like not everyone will go through that. Mm-hmm. So, and then I never feel that I was a studious student that I can passing that Gaokao and then go to a good college back then. And then also my parents went to Hong Kong. So I actually got an opportunity to work to Hong Kong after I graduated from high school. So that becomes my path. I didn't thought of going to college in China at all. So, and then to come to the US was just opportunity arrived. Before the opportunity arrived, I went to Hong Kong and worked for 2 years. And then I decided, okay, I should go to school, because with high school diploma, you can't do much. You only can do like low labor jobs. And I found that, no, it's not what I want. So, and then I went back to study English, and then we're thinking, yeah, the opportunity arrived. So it's to prepare for come to the US to study.
Would you say that you were pulled from the homeland or pushed away? Like pulled as in like
neither
lured you into the US?
Well, going abroad to study itself is actually very intriguing. And then I never, before that, I didn't, as you know, I never even arrived in airplane. So I never thought of my life that I would be, all the way the other side of the earth. But before that, so when that comes, it becomes a very big adventure. I was actually very intrigued, very excited to look forward to it.
Okay. When you finally made the decision to leave, how do you feel?
I think excitement is more. Found a school that accepted me, was happy, and then was able to get a visa was another thing. To me, that was an amazed moment, because I believe in God, and I believe that back then, opportunity was getting a visa to study, especially for undergrad for 5 years. Visa is not that easy. So when I got it, I was, as to me, it's a hint that God is opening the way for me. Yeah.
All right.
So I would, made the best out of it. That's my thought.
Before leaving the US, before leaving for America, how do you view America? Like, what was your perspective about it? And did you have any specific expectations? And then when you did get here, did it meet any of those expectations?
I don't think I have a lot of expectation about US, because back then, not so much of American pop culture movies or anything, because at that time I grown up in Shenzhen. At that time, I'm already in Shenzhen. Shenzhen is very close to Hong Kong. So I already have exposure to Hong Kong way of study, life itself. To me, it was a culture shock from China, mainland China to Hong Kong, because it's totally, if you know, those two are two different systems. Yeah. So the how you live, those two in Hong Kong is very different. So when I went to Hong Kong for the 2 years of working, that had a culture shock. But afterwards, I don't think I have so much of a culture shock when I came to the US. But expectation-wise, I remember someone told me that it's not safe in San Francisco, because I came to San Francisco. And then someone told me that, especially a single girl at night, you better not stay out in the city. It's not safe. So I actually came in. I remember the first or the second week, I have to buy grocery, and the evening of the time, I was rushing, walking back home because I was worried, genuinely worried my safety. It was not that bad. Afterwards, as I, studied and lived in San Francisco.
How do you view America?
It's a free land. It's very individualism. Yeah, and then San Francisco is a beautiful city, and I found that people has a lot of freedom in the sense that you have your own space, and everyone is very emphasized on personal space, personal privacy. This is something you will not get when you were in China, especially back then at that time, because China is more valued of society as a group rather than individuals benefit.
Who and what family did you leave behind?
None of my family member was here at that time.
So you left your entire family.
Yeah, I'm the only one that came here. Well, as a 21-year-old to come to study, you don't have really pretty much of your things. Yeah, well, we have some memories, diaries, and but later on, actually, as the years that I lived here, I got all of those with me.
Got here then.
Yeah, moved to here. So in terms of things, I don't have anything left behind.
So it's just mainly family.
Yeah.
All right. What was your experience like in the U.S. during the first year you arrived?
Wow, first year. Am I allowed to look back to my journal? I don't really quite remember. It has been 30 years, 30 plus years
Let's
ago.
go based off what you remember first, and then I'll let you pull your journal. Let's go based off memory first.
First year?
Yes.
I think the first year was a bit tough because my English was only minimum, don't understood what the teacher said. And I think it was the extreme loneliness. Well, I should take it back. It's not that extreme. Because I do met a lot of good friends. Not good friends, but friends. And then also, I think the first year having a church that I went with and then I'm familiar with helped a lot because they actually kind of become the extended family that I have in the US and help me adapt to the society, to this new environment. Yeah.
What types of jobs did you take?
First came the second day actually. Once I settled where I lived because my mom's friend helped me find an apartment, a room actually in a house.
Mm-hmm.
So the second day I arrived, I got a job in a dim sum place as a dim sum girl. You know what is a dim sum girl?
Yes, it's like the ones going around asking, "Do you want this? Would you like that?"
Yeah. Do you want to shoot mine?
All right. What other jobs have you taken?
Oh, what other jobs? In the restaurant, mostly in a restaurant as the at that time the restaurant has a to-go order. That restaurant was not located in a very good place, but it has a lot of to-go orders. So I was actually answering calls and then jot down those delivery orders. That job I did for 3 years actually, quite a few years. And also babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, waitress in a restaurant. I think mainly working in a restaurant. I also work in a nursery for babies in school. And also a school computer lab assistant. What else? Oh, and then a cashier for a lunch place nearby my school for some years too. Those were the happy jobs.
All right. Next question. What is life like today for you in the U.S.?
This is after 30 years of being here. I think it's very comfortable. I think I can count this place my home. And all my kids grown up here. This is the only place they know as their homeland.
If you were to compare how your life was here to back in, let's say, Guangzhou, how would you say which one would be more comfortable?
I think the time when I came here, U.S. was actually I caught the U.S. or Bay Area in the best timing because when I came in '93, the Silicon Valley just booming, starting. And then at the best moment of the economy that I caught. And then at that time, US is the strongest nation in the world. And China wasn't opening the market, so most people are poor or, they don't have cars. Most people only have bike, it's their transportation, and then most people earn very little, nothing luxury. But now, fast forward 30 years, and then especially recently I went back to China for a visit and then actually touring. I found that it was huge change in China, because the place I was once called at home, I no longer recognize that place. It's so much change. But if I go back to San Francisco now and 30 years ago, Gary Street still the same. So I think it's a different phase for those two countries. The truth is that actually, if there's certain things about politically, if you ignore those things, China is a more comfortable place to live than the U.S. And then especially with the current situation in the U.S. And consider I'm an immigrant, I'm a minority, I'm not a white. It's more sense that it's less welcoming,
less safe,
less welcoming actually in the US than if I go back to China. But there's certain things that I'm already used to in the US, because 30 years I've been living here, working here, and all my children grown up here. So it's home, second home.
All right. Do you plan on going back to the country you immigrated from?
That is a possibility. I would not say no, because you never know what's going to happen and what's going to bring you. I could be depending on the situation here. Maybe my children no longer needs me, and then if I want a more convenient and mother tongue speaking environment to live, I might consider.
Did you or do you have to make any sacrifices to be successful? Quote successful.
I think it's okay. I try hard. I think in certain way I do fulfill my American dream, because when I first came, the American dream was still a very attractive story. You work hard and then you try your best. You can have your own piece of land and piece of home that you can own them, and then you can be safe and respected, and then to live. Because I'm not a very ambitious person. I didn't came to say I want to change the world. I just wanted to seek out who am I, and then what can I do for this, find a good job. I think I did have a very stable good well-paid job for the past 20 years that nurture and grow my own family, and then I have my own piece of little land that I can call home. Yeah, so I'm satisfied.
Any obstacles you faced as an immigrant?
Oh, I think there was a lot when I first came, because you don't speak the language, you don't understand the dynamic between people. At first you thought it was because you're immigrant, and then you don't understand the culture. But as I lived here 30 years, and then I found that because the individualism of the United States, each person can have their own interpretation, explanation of life. So you don't have to worry so much about what's going on, the culture so-called. I tried my best to understand them, but then I'm also very aware that because I'm an immigrant, it's gonna be different, and accept the difference.
Any regrets?
At the moment, no. I can't think of.
Do you regret coming here at all?
No, I don't. Actually, I very much, very much glad that I came, because it broadened my, I think learning language is English, and then mastering it. It took me a long time to mastering, because I'm not a languagely talented, but with this extra language skill, it broadened my view, like how this world works. I have a better understanding of this world, and then understand the individual and then the variety of how this world can be. So because of that, I'm very appreciative, because with this language skill, I can no longer need to rely on translation to understand something, so I can understand from the source itself. I really appreciate that.
Do you have any message or advice you would give to future immigrants?
Don't come. United States, the current political atmosphere vibes, it's not that welcoming for immigrants. And then also, I think the good days are gone. It's actually very hard to find a job right now, and unless you are have very strong specialties. But even with that, it's very hard to find a good job. And then I think China might have a better opportunities, but then who knows? I think if for learning language to exploring a different kind of life, it's worth it of coming. So if a new immigrant comes, I would strongly suggest them or advise them to learn the language, to try to merge into the surroundings, not just into your own race, the small circle of your own race, but going to the more common race, so you can see the difference. Because living in a different country than your own, to see the cultural difference and then to appreciate the difference, I think it's what makes a person's mind broaden and wiser.
What would you want the youth or other people in the U.S. to know about immigrants, or things they may not realize about immigrants themselves?
I think it is respect, because they don't know the language. It doesn't mean that they're dumber. They're just equally smart. It's just a language barrier in the beginning. I think in the Bay Area, we probably don't feel that. I heard stories that Americans are very eccentric. I don't know if I used the word correctly. So yeah, they cannot see the people who are different from them, especially now when we have a president that is so anti-immigrant.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share?
I think I'm sharing enough.
Okay, that's all.